Hey Scorpio, welcome to your February reading. I have already shuffled for you. It makes it a little bit easier because I have to hold my mic in front of my face. So I'm just going to jump right in. As I was shuffling, guys, I got this feeling of vulnerability this month. I don't feel like it's like a bad vulnerability. I feel as though it's kind of like being, like expressing your more vulnerable side, like being more loving, more nurturing. I get that kind of sense. It makes total sense that this time of year you would be feeling that because with it being February, this is the month of, romance, passion, and that's not just in love and relationships, that's in all areas. February is ruled by Venus, so it's to be expected that we are going to be kind of feeling that romanticist kind of vibe, and I want you to harness that. I want you to feel yourself within that. Now, the first card that we have is the Mermaid and the Turtle Woman. So with this card, I feel as though if you are seeking guidance, I feel like what will be beneficial to you is kind of seeking somebody with a feminine kind of perspective. So mums, sisters, somebody you can trust. It says an elder will teach you. I do feel as though perhaps someone a little older than you, but I don't really feel necessarily it has to. I feel it's just that feminine energy might help you to understand things that you're feeling. That's how I'm vibing this. I do feel as though it's really weird. I get this sense of you being soft, like softening, and it's kind of like the gooey center of a candy, and I'm liking this feel for you, Scorpio. However, I feel like it might bring you in this kind of mopey sense, so you might be a little bit more clingy or feeling the need to be nurtured. I want you to realize as well that whatever you wish for externally, like to come from somebody else, you need to be giving that to yourself first and also as well, because I think sometimes we kind of want validation from other people without realizing that if we're not giving it to ourselves, we can't really truly feel that validation from someone else anyway as well. I'm going to touch on this a little bit more further down in the reading because or else I'm going to get ahead of myself with the cards. But yes, I feel as though there may be wise words from a feminine aspect. Again, seeking guidance, I would say go to a woman. It doesn't matter whether you are male or female. I just kind of feel like that could be your best reach, I guess. So I'm just looking at the card for you again, Scorpio. I definitely get this vulnerability from you. It's very interesting. Okay, so the next card is Elizabeth and the Lion. It's time to become a great leader. Now, I feel as though, again, with this vulnerability, it's your theme, vulnerability. I will try and name this something like that. So this card, it represents to me when I read it, the Strength card, paired with kind of like the Empress, especially with how I'm feeling it is for you guys and how I'm feeling it is for February. She has come up in nearly every reading. So it is kind of the energy in the air is all about activating that inner leader and making sure the decisions that we make in our life really resonate with who we are. Sorry, I have to hold his hand. And I feel like for you, what really could be good for you in all areas of your life, be this career, be this relationships, be this literally just what you need to be putting out into the world, is really showing that more softer side of yourself. Be a little bit more playful, more loving, nurturing. I feel like this is a side of yourself that perhaps may be something that not that you're ashamed of, but that did come to my mind as I said it. So some of you might feel a little bit shame with it, especially if you are male. Maybe it's kind of a part of yourself that you feel people might undermine you because you're a little bit more sensitive than others. But actually that is your strength. And I think you need to realize that. And with the Strength card, particularly in tarot, it's kind of learning that our vulnerabilities make us exactly who we are, and who we are is the biggest strength that we have in our lives. That is going to be the thing that brings you fulfillment by listening and channeling your true inner strength, your true self. And that will in turn attract all that you need and desire in life and bring you fulfillment, because you are literally just living authentically. And that's the energy is that the universe is providing us with at the moment, is this chance to really harness exactly who we are and put that out into the world and see that, wow, life is better this way. And I want that for you guys. Now, in terms of work, so I touched on that, and I get this sense of, for example, with work colleagues, with maybe bosses, just something within the workspace. This will be specific to your workplace. I'm sure you can apply it to how this may filter through for you. It's kind of being a more gentler side of yourself. Perhaps like an example of this is like putting on masks when we go to work. So often when we are in the workspace, we kind of get into a more masculine aspect of energy, where we are being more in this role of I can't get my words out now, being more what's the word, being more strict, not strict, more serious. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry, I couldn't grasp on the word then. It's like being more serious, because again, we're here to work, we're not here to play. And I feel like actually you need to be bringing in the more of the friendly aspect of yourself, maybe be a little bit more serious, a little bit more playful where you can. I'm not saying go to work and mess around, definitely not. You're there to work, you gotta earn that monies. But I feel like maybe, for example, with your work colleagues, showing that more genuine side of yourself, the side that is more relatable. That's what I'm kind of trying to say. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I lost my train of thought when I was not train of thought, but I couldn't grasp onto the word of seriousness. This is what sleeping next to my son does in the night. He has to hold my hand and he puts it like on his head and all over the place. So just ignore this hand. So yeah, I feel as though Elizabeth in the Lion is saying, trust in who you are and be a little bit more relatable by being who you are as well. I don't feel like and definitely the whole point of this is not to wear a mask, not to try and be relatable. Be relatable by being who you are, because I feel like that's very relatable. The next card is Kitsune. I will show you who to trust. Now, Scorpio, with you guys, I really get this sense of relationship being a really important part of your life currently. I've been feeling this for some time through your readings. And I feel like some of you are going through this turning point of maybe realizing what resonates with you and what doesn't, or that there's an imbalance in your relationships. Now, I'm going to continue through this reading to talk about that. But Kitsune is here saying, I'll show you who to trust. Now, I do feel like a large aspect of this is trusting in yourself and trusting in your intuition. When you feel like something's something's not right. And it doesn't help to shove that under the rug. Yes, I feel like if you are in partnerships that the person is loyal, trustworthy. And sometimes that makes it hard for us to get out of relationships, because it's like there's nothing wrong with the person who you're with and you still love them and respect them, but something's not right. I do get a sense of that perhaps being a dynamic here. In other ways, I feel as though really you need to be focusing on self. And I think that being in relationships does create this imbalance where I feel as though you allow partners to be more dominant. For example, perhaps they are the ones that are in charge of paying the bills, or they choose what you're going to do. They kind of have a little bit more authority within the relationship maybe. And maybe this is what you've been more comfortable with, or it's just, how the relationship started out and that's the dynamic between the two of you. But in any ways, whenever there is this dynamic where there's this imbalance of, if one's supporting more than the other, or, you don't have this equal kind of yin yang within a relationship, I feel as though sometimes this just creates unhappiness within ourselves, because we're not feel seen, and sometimes it's literally ourselves that create that dynamic. I definitely feel like that for myself. I have this ability to adapt so easily that sometimes I allow myself to, I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me. I've needed to sneeze for like half an hour and it would not come. It's finally here. Sorry guys. Um, yeah, so I just kind of allow myself to kind of put my own needs kind of on the back burner or just secondary. And I get this sense for you of maybe that's been this case for those of you who are feeling a little unsettled. So it's not that the other person's not trustworthy. I feel as though you need to trust yourself. And that is to all of you. Those of you that are dating, those of you are in new relationships, or those of you already in relationships. I do think you need to trust yourself and understand why you're feeling the way you are. This is not saying break up or anything like that if that's not in alignment with what's going on in your life. It's for those that it is. For those of you that's not, definitely your person is real and trustworthy. I do feel like, again, for all Scorpios, you need to be focusing on yourself within relationships and the relationship with yourself. Now, I'm really drawn with this card, and this is specifically to Scorpio. I have not read it this way in the whole time I've been pulling these cards, but it feels like I need to say to you, like, you are golden. So you need to, one, realize that within yourself, that you are perfect the way that you are, and I think you need to get comfortable with that and love yourself. So I want you to have a little bit of homework and see what is it about yourself that you like. Now, it actually might surprise you. So, for example, think about your vulnerabilities. What do you see as something? So, I'm really sensitive. Is that a bad thing, or do you actually like that about yourself? But you've kind of, for example, sometimes like I get really emotional. Like for a long time, I struggled with that and I hated that. I cried easily, like when I'm frustrated. So if I had an argument with somebody, I will easily cry and the reason is because I won't just say something for the sake of saying something. So I don't say words to hurt people. So when I'm in arguments and confrontations, when they will say things that hurt me, I cry really easily because it offends me, I think, because I'm not like that. So it hurts me that somebody else would be like that towards me, I guess. And then I realized, like, that's actually something I love about myself, that I won't just say things in the heat of the moment to hurt somebody. So instead I will get upset about it. And I love that about myself. So I think you need to do that for you. Think of something and then see, like, do you actually just love that about yourself, really? But you've never really thought about it that deep. I want you to think about it that deep. Go there, Scorpio. Let's go deep. Let's dive right in. And I think Scorpio, as a sign, I've said this before, you get a little bit of a rap of maybe being crazy or something like this. Like, it's literally what people will say when they're thinking about compatibilities. Obviously it's not true, it's just a generalization, but what I'm saying is, like, go there, have a think, like, is this something you appreciate about yourself? You know, you don't take shit from anyone. That's a good fucking thing. Love that about yourself because you're golden. Unless you're being toxic, then fair enough. I think you need to have some work if that's something you love about yourself. But at the same time, I'm all about that self-empowerment right now because you need that right now. And I want you to see that these things are what make you who you are. And that actually brings you the things that you need in life. At the same time, I think that this also indicates that there is something about you this month that really does need to shine through. But again, it's all about self. I do think if you are having any questions about a partner and whether they are trustworthy, while I feel this card represents that somebody is loyal and trustworthy, I also think that it also is going to show you that if somebody is not, it will be revealed in the sense of trusting your own intuition and always trust yourself first in this, is what I feel for you, Scorpio. Okay, moving on. Walls of Venice. You are far, far away from home. So this is why I feel like there could be dynamics of internal struggles of unhappiness in areas of your life. I do feel very relationshipy for most of you. I am really channeling relationships for you. We are in February, but a lot of other readings haven't had relationships actually jump in, which is strange for a February reading. But for you guys, I definitely feel that it is in here. So take it as it resonates. But I get the sense of just you having feelings of like not belonging or not really, like it's that feeling of loss. So when we feel in ourselves that when we don't feel like we're at home, it it's because we are confused on where we're going. I think you should understand that it's good to not know where you're going. It's frustrating. I don't like to know where I'm not going, and I'm in this space where I really cannot see solely where, like, in any area of my life, what's going to happen, how it's going to shape. For the first time in my life, I don't have any answers, and it's frustrating. And I feel like this a little bit with you, and I think we're all there. And I think it gives us a sense of feeling of not belonging, which is lonely and scary. But it's actually really good because it then gets you seeking what makes you feel good, what's going to make you bring you closer to that feeling of home. So keep that in mind. It's a very productive energy as long as we don't dwell on it and, again, allow those feelings to overcome us. This, I feel like, could be something that may arise for you if you allow it, which is why you're here, for me to tell you, let's not allow that to happen. But again, if it does, we be kind and feel those emotions. Don't suppress it. Don't say, hey, I'm not supposed to be feeling like this. Yes, you are, and there's a reason for it. What is the reason? Right? Scorpio, I feel like for you, this time is all about taking off masks. I feel like naturally we all have masks that we wear, and I think in this day and age, we're getting exhausted of all the masks. One, for the masks that other people wear, and so with that thought, it starts with yourself and your own mask. When you are authentic and genuine with other people, other people's masks come off too, because they start feeling comfortable and safe. And I think in society, with strangers, we no longer feel safe because of the experiences that we have gone through in our life. As a woman, for those of you who are women, I think you can really understand this at a whole new level. Like, from being a teenager, we are sexualized. As soon as you start coming into womanhood, really any connections that you make kind of come from how you look. Like even friendships, I really struggle to have female friends because my female, I mean, I think I've struggled to make connections all over, but again, from this perspective, with females, I feel like in my teenage years, there's always this kind of level of competition, and I don't like competing with anybody. We are all equal, and we all have our own struggles. But even with like my weight, I was always tiny. Just naturally, I could eat whatever I wanted. I was one of those lucky people. I mean, trust me, I had children, and I'm over 25, so now is not the case. But I was when I was before I started having children. I was this tiny little thing. I ate everything and anything, and I was tiny, which meant, with other females that are not like that in teenage years and they were more curvy, I felt this level of competition, and you get those pressures. And as women, we have these pressures of, that's going on different, I'm not going to spiral. What I'm saying is, so we put on a mask that helps protect ourselves, and everybody is having those because of the society we built up in. And now I think that we're coming to a space where none of us want to live in that, and this is why everyone's going on to everyone's all woke, but we just had a fucking enough. We want to look the way that we look, because it's who we are. It's what we just look this way. There's no way of making ourselves look any different, but society has put this pressure on our generations and generations, and we want different for our children. So all the masks are coming off, and it starts with number one. It starts with you being this inspiration, and it's scary, and I feel this for you, Scorpio, that you are ready to take off the mask. I do feel as though you perhaps have them in all areas of your life, which is why when they start coming off, you get these fears and these sensitivities, and I do feel like you are feeling the need for loving, hugs, and just nurturing. Make sure you're giving that to yourself, but I feel like you have support around you and people who will be understanding of what you're going through. I do think that actually naturally, without you realizing, you do attract a level of support, because I think you're quite a loyal person. That's what I'm feeling here, this loyalty, that I feel like if you actually reach out or look at connections that you have, you'll realize that you do inspire loyalty, despite how you're feeling. So definitely feels of vulnerability. Albino alligator, magical protection is necessary. So it is a time where if you're into your crystals and things, get your crystals around you. Use your tools. Now, I'm going to say a few which I think might be beneficial for you. Firstly, fluorite. It just came to my mind, specifically yellow fluorite, which is not a favorite of everybody's because everyone's all aesthetic, but it is a really good one for anxieties, for nerves, and for, I feel like it's very calming and comforting, and I think that's definitely what you need this month. And actually I grabbed for mine last night, which is probably why it came to mind, because it's that kind of feel I feel you need, and that strength, and it is very kind crystal. Again, onyx. Now, when we are changing or when we are revealing and sensitive, we grieve. We grieve the loss of who we've tried to be for so long, or who we are, or who we were. That is a real genuine grief. We grieve relationships. And again, this is connections with anybody. Whenever we are letting go of something, which I do feel like might be the case for some of you, Scorpio, even if it means as in you're going through challenges of rebuilding a relationship that you're in, it still comes with a grieving process. And grief is real, and we need to witness it. We need to experience it, and we need to understand that it's okay to feel these ways. Onyx. It's the best crystal that will protect your energy against other people's energy. So if you're going through separations, it's very easily to pick up the energy of your exes or the ones that are on the opposing sides, and then that you take on that, and that can make you feel that external pressure, extra vulnerable, and feel responsible for that, when you are not responsible for anybody else's energy as long as you're being a good person. So don't take on that. Onyx protects you. It will shield you of others' energy, but it will also help aid you through grief in a very maternal way as well, which I feel is essential. But anyway, as well, any black crystals, tourmaline, again, as well, with some of the black crystals, not only is it protective, but it also brings your inner power as well. And that's something to keep in mind, because if you're feeling vulnerable, you want to be feeling that power. Sorry, I can't went past the house. Alice in a Sea of Tears, cast away out of your depth and feeling abandoned. I definitely get this sense of relationships dropping away. Turn that down, little bug. Thank you. I do feel like you are actually on the other side of the storm. So even if things are just beginning, for example, it's only just coming to light, I don't feel like that's the case for all of you, but some of you it might be, and it may feel like a bit of a surprise, which is why you're grieving quite instantly. It just feels like all of a sudden feeling quite sad. Feel what you need to feel, but I feel like you actually are on the other side of it, as in, again, I want to remind you that I am feeling this is all happening for a reason and a purpose, that's pushing you towards what's actually real and authentic for you. So with that in mind, we don't want something that's false in our life anyway. Does not mean that we can't be sad about it and grieve it. I definitely feel like you have to go through that process, but acknowledging and keeping that vision of something is better on the other side of this, because again, a good risk and risks lead us to better things. Staying safe and staying in a position that's just content and just comfortable leads us to unfulfillment in areas of our life. Taking the risk and going for it is definitely a good thing. Feel your emotions. I want you to feel your sensitivity. I want you to embrace these things. I do feel like it's your asset this month. And I think it makes you relatable to so many people. So if you are a voice to anybody, whether it be in career, I do feel like it might be even a potential, like if you are a YouTuber, if you're somebody who does readings for people, influences people in any way, even in like care work, whether it be working with children or anything like that. I am just for some reason seeing being inspiring to people comes from you and your emotions. That's what I feel for you, Scorpio. And it could even be water signs around you, could be a supporting friend as well. So bear that in mind. Artemis of the Forest. Now you are independent and free. So again, if you are breaking up relationships, I'm sorry, Scorpio. I'm not saying everybody is going to go for a relationship, but I'm just going to channel what comes through, right? It might not be what we want, but what we want to hear, but it's what we need to hear. That's what I always say. It's This card is saying this is a good thing. This is leading you towards your independence and your freedom. We all need to feel free in our lives, and we should not be locked into relationships that don't give us a level of freedom. At the end of the day, I want us to realize that connections should be traveling with somebody. When we are with somebody, when we are in a relationship, why are we there in that relationship? Because we want to experience lives with somebody. We want to share the intimate things with somebody. So are you doing that with the person that you were with? Were you doing it with them? Are you doing it with the person you are with? If the answer is no, why are you in that relationship? Circumstantial? Because it's better than being alone? Is it though? And these are things you need to think about with yourself. But this is indicating that it is a good thing to move yourself towards independence. And again, that freedom, I get this sense of relief underneath it all. And I do think it's going to give you time to explore things that, again, are authentic to you. I do get better things on the horizon. And again, feminine energy is around during this time. So if you are male, I feel like embracing your vulnerability, your emotional side, again, is key to evolving and moving on in all areas of your life. All areas. Follow the moon cycles is what I feel here. So we need to be releasing on the full moon. We start off the month with a full moon on the 5th of February. So get releasing, let go, and forgive. Forgive yourself and forgive others. That is what full moon release ceremonies are all about. I am all about full moon release ceremonies. I've been doing them for a very long time. And when I don't do them, I struggle with day-to-day life. I find that actually because I'm not actively releasing and letting go, that I am holding on. So I do recommend this to everybody to do them, get into that rhythm of following the moon cycles. We are cyclic beings and we go with the motion of the tides. You are a water sign, so it's going to affect you more in this way. So definitely something to think of, to incorporate into your life. Sorry, I am drawn to the stag horn in this as well. You need to become more dominant in making decisions in your life. Okay. A beautiful rat. Take care of yourself. It's all about it, Scorpio. It's all about you. This is the energy in the air for everybody. We need to start thinking about ourselves. It's not about being selfish. However, if people in your life are starting to think about themselves more, it's because that's what they're driven to do, because we all are. So stop taking it personally. If somebody in your life seems selfish and it's not in alignment with you, one, it's because they're being drawn to do that. Two, maybe because they're not resonating with you anymore in that sense. Now, this is not cruel in the way that I just said that. I said that very meanly. I mean it in the sense of, at the end of the day, not everybody is meant for us. And sometimes we make connections that were right for us in the time. Every single connection that you ever make in your entire life is meant for a reason, however that connection is, whether it be toxic or not. It's again there for a purpose. Does not mean that it's permanent in our lives, and we should never strive to keep something in our life that then turns toxic, even if it was good in the beginning, because there's a reason it's fulfilled its purpose. There's a reason why your energy is no longer vibing with that energy, and it's because you have evolved as a person. And so that's a really beautiful and good thing. Because, like, for example, I will use my marriage as a thing. Like, I still loved him at the end. I mean, now, no, I was treated badly. It's not that anymore. But at the end it was, because to me, something just wasn't right and I wasn't sure, and it all happened really fast and quickly, as anything does in my life when I ignore it for such a long time and then it comes to an end. But I got beautiful children from that. I got experiences. He brought me strength in certain times. Even made me realize that I wasn't incredibly strong, because I was a strength through many things that happened through that marriage. So I gained so much knowledge and wisdom from that experience. That's a really great, beautiful thing. I'm not going to be out here saying that it was the worst thing in my life and all this crap, because it's not true. Just because it's not who I am today and I don't want that in my life anymore does not mean that that whole experience was null. And I think you need to realize that when you make connections with people, there's a really great purpose to that. And when we look at each relationship we've ever had, even when I touch on relationships I had as teenagers with friends, there's good things I got from those things too. I'm not ever going to be a person that just focuses on the bad, because I think that actually none of us should be like that. There are good and bad things to take from experiences, but at the end of the day, they have helped you to evolve into who you are in this moment. And each and every experience that you're going to have in future, by taking those good risks, by taking a risk for yourself and taking care of you, you're going to have so many more of those enlightening, excellent, amazing connections. But it starts with actually making a connection with yourself. I feel like you really do need this. You need to love something about yourself. This will be specific to you, and I think this is a soul searching moment that I want you to focus on. Just literally a half an hour moment, like homework I'm giving you as soon as you stop watching this, to have a think on what you have to love. Who's about to have a nap? About yourself. Comment below if you want to. I'll be intrigued on anyone who wants to share something about themselves. Anyhow, I enjoy doing things like that, a little bit of spiritual work. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. I appreciate you here. Please subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with any future things that I post. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I will see you next month.